Alright, today we're going to take a look at how to correctly flush an engine out after use. Now this particular model, as some of the newer models have, a port where you can hook a hose up to flush the engine backwards through without having to run the engines. Some engines have that port inside underneath the cover. This one has it right here near the exhaust. Alright, here you can see that port. It's the same spot where the water comes out, the little pee hole stream that shows you that the water pump is working. It's going to vary depending on what style engine you have, but you can use a standard socket from a spark plug setup to loosen it and then remove the plug. This happens to be the same size as a garden hose, so a garden hose will screw in there. That'll allow you to flush it backwards without running the engine. Now, I like to run the hose for a couple of seconds just to make sure there's no lizards or bugs or dirt in the hose, because you wouldn't want to flush that through your engine. But once it's clear, you simply hook the hose up, and now it's ready to turn on and flush the engine. Alright, I've turned on the water. I don't know if you can see from there, the water's starting to come out of the bottom, out of some of the ports. It's also coming out of the ports on here and coming out of both of the intakes. So what it's actually doing is filling the engine up with water at the top part of the engine and flushing downward in the opposite direction that the water was taken in while you were running the motor. So if you happen to pick up some sand or dirt and sucked it in this way, this method of flushing the engine flushes it in the opposite direction. And as I said before, this doesn't require running the engine, so it's a little less noise. If it happens to be a two-stroke like this one, a little less smoke too. So I would leave this on here for, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes, and that should be plenty of time to flush it and get it all cleared out. I'm going to show you next. I'm actually going to use the water cup or rabbit ears to flush it in a more traditional way and actually run the engine. Alright, this next style of flushing involves using some ear muffs like this. They're available at any boat store, possibly even at Walmart. These have to be placed over the intakes and to make sure that you get a good seal so that the water coming from the hose goes in. Because this time we will actually be running the motor. It's a little more crucial that we get a good flow of water. I placed this fitting back into the rear of the engine, and I was careful to make sure that the pee hole was facing the direction that I wanted to face. I like to have the water shooting out slightly at an angle, but towards the bottom. So we're going to monitor that and make sure that we're getting a good flow of water out of there while we're connected to the hose this time running the engine. Alright, here you can see how the muffs fit over the water intakes. I'm going to make sure that I'm lined up and I have a good seal on both sides. And then we'll hook up the hose here. Alright, so our hose is hooked up now. We have the water flowing and a pretty good seal. And this water is not making its way through the engine right now. There's simply not enough pressure. So the engine will have to be started and the water pump will actually pick the water up from the bottom of the engine and bring it through the top of the engine and to flush in the normal path of the water. Alright, so now we're going to start the motor. And once the water pump brings the water up into the engine, it's going to start to shoot out of the pee hole here. Now I haven't started the motor in a while, so we'll see how quickly it starts. It's probably going to take a little while before we get it running. Alright, pumped up the ball, so the carburetor should have fuel now. Give it a crank. Okay, so after you've let it run for about 10 or 15 minutes, you should have just about everything flushed out. Also, if you don't use your boat that often, you might want to run it every once in a while on a setup like this just to keep the engine, the crank easy. You see, it cranked up pretty good. I had to repump or reprime the carburetors one time, but after that it stayed running. I don't think I ran this motor in probably about 3 weeks, so I don't think that's really too hard of a start for a 3-week setup. And so now we're going to disconnect this, put the engine back in towing position, turn the water off. And that's all there is to it, basically. So thanks for watching.